All right, welcome back everybody. Now we're gonna learn the different types of levels. What do I mean by that? ISIS, it's not a layer 3 routing protocol. It's a layer 2 routing protocol. It doesn't care about IPv4, IPv6. We're doing NSAP addresses. So it's the router itself that tells it if it's an ABR, that would be a level 1 or level 2, or if it's just inter-area routes, level 2, or just intra-area routes, level 1. So we're going to gain a foundational understanding of these ISIS type levels. See you inside. Welcome back everybody to the ISIS Masterclass. All right, now it's time to get into levels of ISIS, okay? So ISIS has a 2-layer hierarchy, right? Like we know the Cisco 3-layer model. There's like a million of them. They got the Cisco 3-layer model with core distribution access. If it's a campus, if it's a SD fabric, then you have a 2-tier or a 3-tier depending if you're using the core. If you're just using the distribution and access, we usually call those span and leaf. So yeah, here you have a 2-layer hierarchy. Level 2, which would be considered a backbone, okay? Which is not something that I'm saying like OSPF that you have to connect to. All right, and level 1 are the areas. All right, so but now here's a breakdown of that. Okay, it's the router, not the interface. It's the router that's the level type. Okay, and when we configure this, you'll be able to see exactly what it is that I'm talking about when we start doing the configurations of ISIS, all right, in a multi-area environment. You saw it already a little bit in a previous one where level 1 did not talk to a level 2 router, okay? So level 1 routers, they're in the same area. Everybody in that previous lab that I did for ISIS, everybody was in the same area. Everybody was in the same area. Once I changed one of the routers for level 2, they couldn't get any routing information to get to that one link, okay? Because level 2 routers do not talk to level 1 routers or vice versa. Okay, so rules, level 1, neighbors in the same area, and your link state database routing information is for L1 area. Okay. Level 2, neighbors in the same or other areas, okay, and then is considered not an intra like level 1, but an inter-area router. And again, these are definitions, all right. And then level 1-2, they can be neighbors with anybody. They can be neighbors with anybody, but they do hold 2 separate link state database information, one for the level 1 routers and one for the level 2 routers. And again, once you start getting the understanding of the configuration, when we start doing configs, which we will here in a bit, okay, we're almost there, and we'll be configuring both OSPF, multiple area OSPF, and multiple area ISIS, all right? But before we get, we need to understand these levels, all right? Think of level 1-2 as an ABR, an area border router, and OSPF. Okay, it cannot. Well, that's the only one that exists that can talk between both level 1 and level 2. All right. Normally, we configure level 1 routers in our intermediate system routers. Okay, not our end system devices like our computers. Okay. But our intermediate system routers, okay, we normally configure them as level 1. They're all in the same area. And then we configure a level 1-2 because it's going into a different area, okay? It's going to talk to other. It doesn't necessarily have to be a different area, all right? It could be, but if it is, then everybody will be an L1. If you really wanted to do everything in the same area, then just do level 1 routers all the way across, which wouldn't really make much sense. At one point, you're going to get too big, and it's just going to cause issues. Even if it's a layer 2, you're still going to cause issues. So you need to separate, there has to be a limitation. All right, and then you go ahead and have a level 1-2 router that's going to take you outside your own area into another area, which at that point it now has 2 separate link state databases. All right, instead of just one for that particular area. All right, again, these are more like definitions. Level 2 routers for backbone, okay, and level 1-2 that can be part of many areas. All right, and if you have, let's say, a full mesh and you have level 1 and level 2 routers interconnected to each other, and below them you have level 1 routers, then you'll get communication across because they're talking both languages. It's not like you have to do any kind of redistribution or anything like that. It's not like you're going from OSPF, okay, into EIGRP, okay, because if you're in OSPF, if you're too far from a particular area, then you need to go ahead and configure virtual link. Because remember, we have that rigid rule that says we have to connect back to area 0. So we have to do those virtual links. This is not the case in ISIS. And when we do this multiple area ISIS, you'll see what's going on. But this is the breakdown of the levels. And again, level 1 talks to nobody but level 1. Level 2 talks to nobody but level 2. And then if you want them to talk to each other, you will use a level 1-2 router to do so. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Okay. Now, what's going to be very important is in our next lecture is when we're going to go ahead and start talking about the NSAP address and the breakdown of that particular address. Okay, but because you need this in order for, because remember, ISIS doesn't really care if you're running IPv4 or IPv20. It doesn't really matter. Okay, ISIS pays attention to its NSAP addresses. That's going to tell it, okay, you're private. Oh, this is your area. Oh, this is the system ID. That is what it's going to go ahead and do. But definitely when you choose the type, the router, what level type, you need to determine where in your topology is this router. Is this facing the local area network? Is this one of my WAN routers? What is the case? What's going on? Okay. And that your backbone area cannot be broken up. There has to be some sort of a contiguous connection across that backbone so it can connect to all the other areas as well. Okay. That's pretty much it. All right. So this is it. This is your definitions of your different levels. All right. And next, we're going to start talking about the famous Network Service Access Point, or NSAP addresses. I'll see you there.